Consortium. This is being funded by a SARE grant, and the work that they've been doing, I'm so impressed with both the advocacy they're doing.
That we have been doing.
I've been lucky to be a part of some of their work, so to advocate for better water access for urban growers. So go ahead, John.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this timer on because I want to be sure to have time for like feedback, because I find myself learning more from discussion than me talking. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming through. I'm John Kent, and I'm going to tell you more about the Water Consortium work. Really quick, if you are a Detroit farmer or know Detroit farmers, please pass this information on. $20 and a water meter to fill this out. Not every survey can say that. So let's get started. Okay, so as Katie mentioned, we are studying basically water catchment systems in the city of Detroit, and to be able to help edify our community on best ways to capture water. So before I get into that, I definitely want to give a land acknowledgement to the Potawatomi and Puriel Nation. I may have pronounced Puriel wrong, please excuse me. This is the land that we're on now. We're very thankful for their ability to be able to have had this land. We definitely need to be doing reparative work to make sure our indigenous communities get that land back. That goes without saying. So just the contents of the presentation, we're going over a quick introduction of myself and the background of the Water Consortium, brief overview, the work, and next steps. So again, hi everybody, John Kent, all the things I'll be doing. Okay, when you see me, please know that there's a team that is with me. These are all the folks that are part of Sanctuary Farms. Tony at the top in the middle helped put this plan together. He's also part of the Water Consortium along with some other folks. So these are our interns. Shout out to them. So a brief overview is that there was a clear need to capture water for the work that we're doing for urban farmers, particularly farmers that are not connected to a house right by them. How are they going to be able to access that water? Usually the cheapest option is to be able to do a tote, but it leaves a gap because that runs out quickly. And also, if you're trying to get organic certification, there's also a gap because you can't rinse your produce off with that water, and you need to do a high level of amount of testing for that. So we decided to say, or do, this study to be able to look into that work. So this is the members. When we put together this plan, it was important that we have folks who are involved in advocacy work, education, and also political. So this makes up a really good demographic that fits those three parameters that I mentioned. And we just got Kwame, Skylar, Ashley, and Kidu not too long ago, but they have really helped round out what's made for a really good group of people to come up with the best plan forth to work with the Detroit Water and Sewage Department. So I know I just mentioned the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, but they are just logos for folks involved. They come up because we want to be sure that if we are to continue this work, we have best practices that they will agree to. A lot of the water catchment that we do is kind of the wild, wild west in the city. It's basically folks figuring out what they can do, what's best for them. But if they were to have an inspector go through, they would be feed out the So, and we don't want folks to have to go through that. So we're basically trying to bridge that gap to say, okay, what are farmers doing that we can show the Detroit Water and Sewage Department to try to create a one-pager that they can agree to and farmers can continue, or maybe change that practice to bring it up to standard so where it can be an easy flow. Flow, right? Water? You with me?
No.
You with me, brother, you with me. So starting this out, right, we had to get that quantitative data to see where the gaps were, to see where folks are with their lack of knowledge when it comes to Detroit Water and Sewage Department protocols, and to see what were they doing that was beneficial. So to just kind of go through, 78% are unaware of the funding options for building catchment systems. 63% didn't know the organizations to reach out to for questions related to accessibility. 53% didn't know how to connect to the city water line, which I can tell you is a $20,000 endeavor. Y'all got that? If you do, let me know, we can talk. 70% of participants didn't know where to find a good contractor to tap into the city line. 54% did not feel comfortable reaching out to the water and sewage department. And this is a big concern to us, and we want to make sure that folks in the department have a liaison that can interact with farmers, you know, because a lot of times you call and they have no clue, and then you go through the spiral, and then you just get disinterested and you wind up just saying the hell with it. So it's important that they have some good interfacing with farmers on the ground. And 67% are unfamiliar with the credits that the department offers, because if you have a farm that is in a business, you can get credits for that, you know? But there's these little things like this that is not widely dispensed, so people aren't aware of it. And 75% need assistance with disputing the drainage fee. That goes without saying as well. So, with that information, some of this stuff I've kind of already gone through. We had to gather the team, and in gathering the team, kind of center the objectives of how we wanted to move forward with this, because there's so much to cover. Establish contact with the Detroit Water and Sewage Department. We are on our third meeting now, if you will, and out of our third meeting, would you say, Katie, third meeting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, out of our third meeting, we're making some significant progress. Disseminate that survey, which you've seen some of the data points, and we still need people to fill that out. I'm looking to Detroit farmers in the house, fill it out if you can, because you can be able to add, to give a more holistic view, an accurate view. We're also working to create a resolution through the City Council of Detroit to really accent the need of water access. So I probably should have said this from the beginning, but this is mainly focused on policy and organizing work of water access rather than the technicality of water access. Also, when reaching out to Detroit Water and Sewage Department, particularly when it came to asking them about what would it look like to give access to farmers for the fire hydrant, they were very scared about that idea. So Detroit Water and Sewage Department is facing a good amount of problems with some of their fire hydrants. And even when folks use it, it can lead to really high costs and damages. They said a firefighter misused it, and misused a fire hydrant, and it cost around $50,000 to $70,000 to fix it. So the mere thought of them giving access to a farmer was like, oh my goodness. But we've had to kind of pry this information out of them, because a lot of times they won't be forward with why they have difficulty giving this access, because they don't feel comfortable, right? And it's kind of like a therapy session. It's just like, okay, well, why don't you feel comfortable? Tell us more. Oh, you have mommy issues. Okay, well, why do you? So having that information has been able to help us further create the best pitch for them, and also create the best circumstance for them to give that water access. Still haven't been able to do it for fire hydrants just yet, but we're on our way. Oh, so in pertaining to the model cities part, we reached out to 7 cities who are giving access to farmers through fire hydrants, and that still didn't go over too well. but we're going to keep trying at it. So that was our hydrant pilot presentation that we gave them. Essentially kind of going through 3 examples of what we can do of partnering with the Detroit Fire Department to allow them to get water from the fire hydrant and then basically drive that around to different farmers. And with one of our consortium members, Tafira, who reached out to Connect at the fire department and who really advocated for the possibility of their department to do that, that seems very fruitful if they are to do it, not if we are, and by we, farmers are themselves access it. The constant use definitely was out of the question. And the service to fill up totes at garden sites, also out of the question, unless it's coming from the Detroit Fire Department. But it seems more so like the water truck would be the option that they're willing to go forth with. So next steps out of that meeting. There was this talk of a wash box. Is anybody familiar with that? Okay. Well, essentially, it is a line that easily allows it to tap into the water line and just kind of pump water out of that. Is that the best way to describe it, would you say?
Yeah, the best way to describe it is they described it as costing $2,500.
Yeah.
$20,000. So that was kind of a
That was like,
detail.
exactly. We were all kind of like, okay, this is still a viable option because it's far more, less costlier than the $20,000. But I do want to shout out Katie for still advocating for the fact that $2,500 is still a barrier to a lot of people. So we still need to figure out other options that we can allow for the best affordable ways for farmers to get access.